right, we're rolling.
Good morning, positive people. Buenos dias, bonjour, bon dia, ni hao, memenjes, dobre utro, namaste, sawadi, chawim, manga namu manga, como ye, sopa wanang sung, assalamu alaikum, privet, guten tag, kalimara, and as they say in some neighborhoods, what's good? This is Mr. Booker, also known as Kevin Booker Jr., and I'm here on Cultural Flip Side, and I'm with my awesome, fabulous...
I'll take care of that.
Okay, all right.
Hi, everybody. You know that I won't say all that. This is Pauline Batista, and I'll just say Hola, America. Welcome to the Cultural Flip Side. Bienvenidos and bienvenidos. It's so good to be here with you. Thank you for, being here with us today.
Awesome. Now, how are you doing?
That's a huge question, America.
Yeah.
See, I forgot my fan today, everybody. But you just focus on the imaginary fan.
Yeah. I love the earrings and the ring and all that.
I always, I
Girl,
like a
you
prop.
looking good.
Thank you. I like a prop and a half.
Oh.
So, here's the thing. I'm okay. It's Black History Month. And, I do work with that kind of...
The population?
Program.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's really Black History Month, 12 months. I'm also Black, which is fun fact. So it's very exhaustive. Once, we're approaching, early spring. It's just a very exhaustive time.
Yeah.
But I am very content with the programming that we've had and, the things that I've been able to do. So I'm exhausted yet content. How about you?
I'm feeling fantastic. Okay. I'm here. I'm excited about our show today because you know what? We're going to have a great time. We got some awesome guests today.
I know. In fact, we have like one of my favorite people on the show today. I'm so happy, So yeah, like Kevin said himself, who I can't even talk today. So we'll have guests today, and we'll talk about what we're going to talk about today. Kevin, can you tell?
We're going to talk today about
watching today.
Black love, a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk a little bit about Black music.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about poetry. And
writers and really Black feelings, right? Because I feel like we rarely pause to examine, the amazingness, right? And the multitude through which Black folks have been expressing themselves.
Absolutely.
Through music and through writing. So we're here with you today to pause and talk about that. And I really appreciate
you know what's interesting to me when we talk about like Black music, right?
Yeah.
I think about gospel. I think about R&B, rap, which means rhythm American poetry.
Absolutely. And
right?
It's so crazy to me because when you say that to me, I think about, Yoruba rhythms. I think about Afro beats. I think about global Black rhythms that folks don't be talking about as Black rhythms.
Right.
But I am here to do that.
And I'm thinking about also, right, rock and roll, which was also invented by Black people, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm thinking about pop.
Yep.
And then I think about jazz.
Yep.
And then I think about ragtime,
Yep.
which was invented in the early 20th century, right? And then we go into blues. Yep. And then we go into folk. And then we also think of bebop. But you know what I don't understand?
What?
And Paulina, please tell me I don't understand this. You know when you walk in the borders, right? We walk in the borders, we see all these different genres of music.
Yep.
But I never see under Black music. I just see all these different genres of music, but yet Black people still are not completely accepted within our society. And I wonder sometimes when I think about our music, are we even accepted? Our music is not even under one umbrella.
Right.
Isn't that deep?
It's very deep, and we'll get deep real quick. Now I want to turn to our guest today.
That's right.
Her name.
That's something, but you know what?
Anyway.
That's why this is the cultural flip side.
Right.
Because we want people to start thinking about how.
Hold on now. Do you know what I was just thinking
What's
about?
that?
The biggest rock star of all time to me is
Who?
Tina Turner.
Biggest rock star to me, Jimi Hendrix, who always said, knowledge speaks, wisdom listens. And that's what we're about to do with our guests right now. Let's rock and roll, girl.
Absolutely. Anyway, so today our first guest, Ron, is she ready for us? No problem. We can chat a little more. So, Kevin, I was thinking and reflecting about, Black history and Black history through music specifically, and thinking about the ways in which Black folk had to adapt to the industry, right? From the very early days, like when I think back, I think about people like, Josephine Baker, right? The very early days and how she, became part of, the media through playing a particular role, right? So I feel like Black people, we'll talk more about her later on, but I feel like Black people have to play a particular role.
And she had to wear that banana suit. Isn't that something?
They had to be framed as exotic.
Isn't that interesting?
In order to be, acknowledged by white folks in the industry, acknowledged by, white audiences, and that's the only way, right? Which is, it's cool and all and everything, but it's also a tad dehumanizing.
Right.
Right. You only pay attention to the lady when she's wearing a banana skirt. You only pay attention to a Black lady when she's wearing a banana skirt. Talk about rock and roll, right? You only really started to pay attention to rock and roll when a white man called Elvis Presley started to sing like a Black man.
A black man, right?
Where's my fan? I really miss it today. Go ahead, carry on.
What's beautiful what you just said? You said Tina Turner, right?
Yeah.
So you say your favorite rock singer is Tina Turner.
She is my favorite rock star, of all time.
So, what's interesting? I didn't even know this until I went to Memphis.
Until you came here today.
Memphis, Tennessee. Until I went to Memphis, Tennessee 3 years ago.
Tell us the story.
And I was in Sun Records. And I did not even know that Ike Turner recorded the first rock and roll song. Tina Turner's ex-husband. And what's love got to do with it? So when you think about it,
what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? Anyway, tell me the story.
You getting me excited now. You getting me excited. Jeez. But that's what's fascinating. And how many people, right now, all of you are watching, even knew that Ike Turner recorded the first rock and roll song. Well, who gets the credit? The king. Who's the king? Who do they call the king?
Ike Turner was problematic.
Oh, I know, right?
However, so Elvis is really the one person who gets all the credit, right? He is the king of rock and roll. Right? And oftentimes, I feel like even across global rhythms, for example, a rhythm that folks don't know that is Black in its roots is bachata, like the Dominican rhythm. I'm going to tell you a crazy story right now. You heard a ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. That's bachata, right? But it's also percussion. So there's similarities. So bachata, like, it has a step that you do. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait. You got to show me that.
Child, listen. This is Christ. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you do a flare with your foot. Once you do a flare with your foot, people just do the flare. And then, once you look at it, you do your research, you learn that the flare, folks. Now come closer.
Please tell me that.
Come closer, because that's a crazy story. The flare came from enslaved folks who danced.
Just like tap dancing.
And they were chained. They were chained into like some wall or something. Yeah. And they had to skip the chain. Wow. So the flare, is really someone like skipping a chain and dancing. So there's a lot that we don't talk about when it comes to like Black music, all over. Like globally, historically, and even rhythms that are not considered as Black.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this should be really a whole series.
Absolutely.
That we should U.S. rhythms and global rhythms and Brazilian rhythms. And Brazil, if you folks don't know now, I'm from Brazil. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like in Brazil itself, the last country to abolish slavery, presents a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to history and Black history being, erased. And I just heard through the grapevine that our first guest is ready.
Our first guest is ready.
Are you ready for our first guest?
I told you. I'm excited.
All right. I'm so excited because
Let's bring her on.
This person is literally like a sister to me. She is a best-selling best-selling author on Amazon. She is from Hartford, Connecticut. She is a very accomplished author at such a very young age. Paris Pruitt, welcome to the Cultural Flip Side, sister. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you
How you doing,
both for
Paris?
everyone for having me. How are you all today?
I feel better that you're here. I'm so happy to have you on. How's your Friday so far, sis?
It's going good. I taught, I did some teaching, did some reading today. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
That's some good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your work, okay? As a queer Black woman
Yep.
who's so amazing, so accomplished, I know, let's talk about Unshackled a little bit. And I want you to talk to folks about Unshackled and, you know, how that was framed and where that came from. And to Kevin, really, because I don't think he's met you before. This is the first time, so talk to us.
Okay,
absolutely.
so
What was the inspiration
Unshackled-
behind that? And why is it called Unshackled?
I got you. So Unshackled is my baby. The subtitle is Confronting 22 Years of Pain Held Captive. My identity around being a Black lesbian woman from a low socioeconomic background,
Right.
and have had two incarcerated parents really have shaped my entire existence. So honestly, I've been writing probably my entire life. Trauma will do that. Trauma will spark your creativity in a way that you never even realize. So I think I started writing when I was like 7. But just jotting things down, like writing like short stories, like anything to kind of escape my reality. That really is like where my writing identity came from. But Unshackled was really like 22 years of what I've experienced. So I'm originally from Hartford. I've spent some time in Fort Lauderdale, Florida from like 2nd grade to 7th grade when my mom was incarcerated. So that really shaped my entire identity. And during like that development, like life was crazy. Like I was living
Life
my
is crazy.
yeah, like,
I wish I
yeah.
had
And
my fin. Life
Florida,
is
you know,
crazy.
it's warm, it's great, like it's nice, but you know, that's a lot of my trauma was, you know, rooted in that space. But Unshackled is really like letting go of the trauma, letting go of the pain. I'm also a counselor, which is also very much in my identity. I didn't even think about it. But at 22, I was graduating undergrad. So I was counseling,
A long time ago. I'm joking.
I had the identity, but you know, I ain't had a training yet, but you know, now we have the training. So
You do.
it really
Amen.
just
Amazing.
talks about like my siblings. I talk about Black womanhood. I talk about like education in my outlet. It's a collection of poems.
Of course, yeah.
And the illustration was actually done by her name's Dika Henry. She's from Hartford.
Another Hartford artist.
amazing.
Yeah.
She did an amazing job. So I was definitely grateful for that. So yeah,
Are you
I
gonna
have
share
a
some
piece
work
of
with us
you know.
today? Can you do a reading?
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. This is my all-time favorite.
Take it over.
And it's called The Power of the Black Woman. She loves but never finds love. She reflects beauty, flipped outside or in. She is dipped in gold with a glow so rare. She is the one that birthed this nation. She is a descendant of exploitation. Her image is only seen as annihilation. She comes in many shapes and forms. She is Angelo in the mind. She is Bartman in the body. She is Shakur in the soul. She is the Truth in Tubman who took steps years before the March on Washington. A bystander they depicted in his storybooks, written by white America. The only time she stood by was when her body was seen as a mere spectacle. She was seen as a freak show, later on as a freak hoe. But words couldn't stop her. She belongs to the largest groups of college graduates to occur. And still, they think she's illiterate because her use of ebonics. Anything she has created will never be hers because Becky will always be there to steal it. They stare at Kylie Jenner's lips or Kim's thick thighs, but forget to cite the true author of these two lies. I bet if Michelle switched the roles and was the performer of Melina's words, do I need to even say more? When they said Me Too, they forgot to say Bert. Damn, she's really hurt. Sometimes she wants to snatch off her cape because of the racism, ridicule, and the rape. She needs an outlet for her pain, so she wrote this for you. Yes, you, sis, in the back, with the rich melanin skin and locks flowing down your back. Keep shining and keep smiling. I really need to see you win because I'm my sister's keepers. Tomorrow, today, and I've always been. So that's
Oh
really.
my God, I
That
love
was
it. I've
amazing.
heard it many times. But I get teary-eyed every single time, and I
Oh my
appreciate that
gosh.
space. So, you know, I mean,
Jeez.
thank you. So my follow-up question to you is, can you talk a little bit, and we talk about this all the time because we go back and forth, we're very close friends, but, do you think that as Black women, will we ever have the space to really express how we feel without feeling like we're gonna be punished or judged or framed in a particular way? What are your thoughts on that? The expression of Black womanhood and Black women's feelings and all that jazz.
I hope, my hope and my dream is that with this next generation and, with us being mothers, if that is something that we hope to do, that we reframe the thought for Black girls. As you know, Pauline, I'm engaged to a beautiful Black woman.
Yes. Let's give her a shout out. Hi, Jasmine.
Right?
Hi, Jasmine.
Shout out to Jasmine. But for me, like when I think about the essence of like listening to Black women and being a Black woman, I really have to sit tight. I really have to think about, because I'm masculine presenting. So sometimes there could be some like, I have these implicit toxic masculinity that we've talked about, me and my fiance. But I hope that what our foremothers have taught us, that we shed it. I pray that we're in a space that we can express ourselves and we can give like rise to our identity as Black girls and Black women. But I really do think that our generation is the Black women to change it. We watched our foremothers be abused, ridiculed, like, and still push through and still show up for those same people that have done those things to them. And it really created a space for us to do the same things until we really sat back and was like, is this the treatment that I really deserve? And I think we're starting to see that in our generation where, we're not taking the things our foremothers took. But I will say, we do have people and women in our generation that still conform to those very traditional gender roles, because Black women, we're not in the space to be loved. We're not in the space to be married. We're not in those spaces. So it's like, I'll do whatever I can. And it's like, whatever you can, at loss of yourself. So I pray that, I show whatever kind of woman, cisgender, transgender, non-binary women, just an experience of, you should be loved. When they come into my presence, they feel love. And I feel like sometimes with love and expression, we think about it in a very romanticized way. Yeah. When it's like, no, like I honor Pauline in the same spaces that I honor Jasmine, because, I really honor Black women. Any Black woman that comes into my contact, I'm loving you, because I really meant the last line. I am my sister's keeper, like very much so. And I will defend Black women to the end. I'll pull you aside, I'll pull you aside and do some sisterly correction.
Okay, my next question to you, I think it's based on what you said, right? And based on what I heard through your story and also through your work. Institutions.
Yes.
How are institutions supporting or further, taming Black womanhood, rather?
The institutions, my God.
See, I knew that was gonna be a good one for you.
Yeah. So I'm prayerfully gonna be accepted into a PhD program, but this master's program has really taught me how invisible Black women are, how invisible we are. I came into this semester, this year, telling my cohort, like, I feel really used, I feel really abused here. And with everything that happened in the summer, we have a cohort 16 with 3 of us that are Black, 2 of us that are Black women, right. Coming in and saying like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry for how you felt during this time. Nothing. And I feel when I had expressed my feelings over a call, one of my professors, she's a Black woman, and I really got extremely emotional because I was like, I've given so much to this space. I've given so much to you all, and I have not received the same thing back. Yep. And literally white faces looking at me as if I'm crazy. And it took my professor, a Black woman, to tell my cohort, it looks like Paris needs your support right now. And it's like, those are the things that when we don't have professorship that looks like Black women, who was going to say, oh, like what a white woman had or white man had said, oh, I think Paris needs your support right now. Absolutely not. So then it would just been an awkward silence. And then I would have had to move on with my emotions. But it did create dialogue. And I think it was very appreciative. So institutions uphold this angry Black woman. You can't express your feelings. I can't be passionate about something, because if I'm passionate now, automatically I'm angry. I'm the angry Black woman, or I'm all of these stereotypes. But I was just reading her Feminism, a book by Mickey Kendall, and she said, when we try to go against the angry Black woman idea, we're falling into that stereotype. When we try to go against it, it's okay to be angry, you know? Yep. So it's something that I'm like really holding to myself.
I appreciate that.
No, one of the things that come to my mind when she talked about the invisible Black woman, you know, my mother is my best friend. And my mother is the person who actually made me the man I am today. And I grew up in Hartford, you know, Blue Hills Avenue.
Yeah, so we right here. We
graduated from Hartford High, right?
Yeah.
And just thinking about that neighborhood and that community,
get in the frame, Kevin.
That community that I grew up in,
get in the frame.
I'm just thinking about how, you know, looking at my family members and thinking about all those individuals who actually went through the criminal justice system. And I'm thinking about my father and also a lot of my cousins as well. And I know that pain, I see it in your face when you're talking about those issues. And I think about my mother at times, because my mother, she would have to carry the burden of all, you know, that lapse in time when they were away. So the question I have for you, and I feel your pain, you know, being a person who dealt with a lot of that as well from the same community. What was it like for you to see some of your family members, because they were doing time as when others were doing time? So what was that like for you to see that and experience that, and how has that shaped your life?
So I have very vivid memories. My mom is like the person that was incarcerated. My father was too, but my mom, like, one time police kicked down our door. I was probably 6. And like the way that they kind of like roughed it up and like pushed her down and stuff like that, you would think that like her criminal offense was like a violent criminal offense, which it wasn't. So that's one memory that I have. And I have another memory of me and my sister being at home and we not hearing from my mom for like 2 or 3 days. And my sister getting me ready for school. I'm in 2nd grade at this point, and my sister's 5 years older than me. But her getting me ready for school, we're acting as if everything is normal, as if my mom is going to come. And nobody knew we were in the house by ourselves. And it's really disheartening, you know, because it really shaped who I am. And it took a lot of time to really like, I was doing a lot of masking my trauma, and scholarship became like my thing. Like, I know that this is what's going to make it, like, I'm going to be able to rise above this experience. But spirituality has been very, very, very close to me. I really, truly believe that God pulled me out of that experience, like really shielded us from it, because there's a lot of things that I could have been that I'm not. And I'm oftentimes grateful for. I rise in prayer, like I go to sleep in prayer, because I know those experiences that I've experienced, a lot of people don't know what that is like. Like, even like watching my dad like read books from jail, like people don't realize that like having an incarcerated parent or having an incarcerated loved one is not that person going away. I have a poem about my mom, because my first graduation, undergrad, she wasn't there. And it was a really emotional time for me. But the last line of a poem was, "Have you ever mourned somebody that was still breathing?" And every time my mom went to jail, I was mourning her. Like, I was grieving. And a lot of times, like in the counseling sphere, they never attributed grief counseling to children of incarcerated parents. So that's something that I'm really interested in looking at. How can we use a grief model to actually help children of incarcerated parents? Because some children of incarcerated parents will go to caregivers. They'll have, like, for you instance, you had your mom, I went to live with my grandmother, but then there's some people that, they can't live with their loved one. So now they're in the space with someone they don't know. So there's so many levels to things, but I think it really broke my heart, in the beginning. And it really, shattered a lot of my relationships, because a lot of people don't realize what that is like. And I'm grateful for my fiance, because when this last time that my mom was in jail, I did take a large role of, like, I basically was mothering my younger siblings, and it took a large toll on myself. But having the support of her, and really her telling me, like, it's time to put yourself first. It's time for you to start self-caring, and being able to transform my life and put myself first has been.
Paris, I want to say thank you for being so vulnerable.
I love you so much.
Of course.
That. Do you want to briefly talk about your new book? Briefly?
Yeah, The Adventures of a Hood Scholar. Yeah. So
what is it
The
all
Adventures
about?
Come on. The
Real
Adventures
quick.
of a Hood Scholar is a memoir really discussing, like, from my adolescent years, so elementary on to undergraduate. I stopped right before my master's, so there definitely will be a sequel or two. But it talks about, navigating, being from the hood and being a scholar, and, how I wasn't really accepted in the hood space because I was so invested in scholarship, and then scholarship,
Right.
not understanding all of the identities that I have. So yeah, and I have a vivid memory of a teacher that I was in 3rd grade, and she told me, ladies are not supposed to be heard, they're supposed to be seen. And I just think about, what if I never talked because she said that?
Crazy. Damn. Thank you so much, sis.
Paris, thank you so much.
I love you. Before you go,
I love you both. Thank you
quick,
so much.
and you don't even know him. How do you love him?
Because
Anyway.
he's from
What
Hartford.
is that?
He's
It's
from
the energy.
Hartford.
It's the Hartford connection.
Come on, it's
Anyway,
love.
back
It's
to
love.
me here. Right, focus, everybody.
I didn't even try to say I love you both, but that's just how I rock. And
Yeah.
I'm authentic.
That's what I'm talking
so.
about.
Words of wisdom for young folks, young Black girls who are listening to you right now. Your parting words of wisdom today.
Be yourself.
I love that.
Awesome.
That's it. The world has to love you, but be yourself. That's it.
All right.
Paris, thank you.
I love you, sis. Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having me.
Have yourself a beautiful weekend. Oh,
You
That
as
was
well.
awesome. Beautiful.
I'm just so blessed to have access to her.
That's
I just
beautiful.
love her. Each
Yeah.
conversation is, a bigger learning experience.
Absolutely.
Right? And and having, and she does, those really big events for large crowds and whatnot, and she's always that vulnerable.
Yeah.
She always gives and gives and gives and gives. It's so beautiful that she's sharing her journey when it comes to, like, recharging and self-care and whatnot. I really, really admire her, and I'm very happy that we had a chance to have her here.
I'm so happy that she came on the show and she was able to, encourage so many other women, who may be dealing with a lot of issues,
Yep.
on so many levels. I mean, we touched on so many different, like different subject matters as well.
Well, and also she's a Black writer, right, who turned her narrative into something. And I think that leads us to
That leads
our
us
topic
to
today.
That also leads us to our next guest.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Tarico Satterfield from Real Life Empire.
Yeah, but Ron said that let's chat a little bit, Kevin. Not yet. Listen to me.
What's going on with Ron today? I don't know what's going on. We got to do something with Ron here.
We love him.
know?
Anyway, so back to, Black writers and
Yeah.
Black stories and Black narratives,
Yeah.
right? I think that.
As you can see, I brought in some Black books,
All right, what's this all about?
right here. So we got my buddy right here.
what's behind the choice?
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Okay.
We were 8 years in power. We were 8 years in power. Think of this, the title of that. Ooh,
Do you truly believe that?
that's a deep subject here. I don't even know if we have enough time for this show today.
Yeah. Anyway.
And another book I would highly recommend seriously is The Color of Water. These two books here. This is another good book just to help you out understanding exactly some of the things that are going on, redlining, gentrification, things with that sort of nature that affects our community.
No, but let's, that's kind of boring.
That's kinda
I'm sorry.
boring.
Let's talk about, like, music and, like, entertainment and good things.
Music and entertainment.
Things that people my age like.
Oh my God.
All right.
But you know what? You know what I like
What?
about when you talk about music? Kool Herc said hip hop binds all people, all nationalities. But one thing that I
Say more.
right? He
Say
said,
more. What does that make you think personally?
What does that make
when you
me
hear
think?
that quote? Yeah.
What does that make me think? I think about the industry on a different level. I think about the industry that changed when hip hop came out. I don't know if you know the history behind hip hop and how it all became to be in the Bronx and everything.
Bronx.
But, yeah. So when hip hop actually was created, it was created because they took instruments out of the schools. And when they took the instruments out of the schools, the children in the community in New York City, especially a lot of the black and brown children, they started saying to themselves, we got to create a new art form.
Yeah, we must.
And we must like start doing something else. And you had all these different cultures coming together
Right.
to form this new art form. Even breakdancing. All that came out of that. Beatboxing. All the different art forms, freestyle. All the different art forms of hip hop. And what's interesting is that when it started really to come in and blossom,
Yeah.
mainstream America didn't accept it right away.
Oh, of course not, because I mean
Right.
that's music that comes from folks who have been
Right.
historically marginalized, right? When you look even across the
Right.
country, like the other day, a dear friend of mine, the man with a dimple, he'll be watching this, so we'll talk about him. The man with a dimple was teaching me about the birth of trap. And trap and how folks would be trapped in, I don't know, between a highway and, and selling drugs and things like that. And like, why would white folk in the mainstream industry want to have to do anything with those people?
The question is,
You know what I'm saying?
The question is, when when I think about, why is it that conscious hip hop, conscious rap, doesn't sell to the great numbers the same way as trap, gangster, all that other stuff? So why do you have to have someone like Pop Smoke? You have to have someone, and within those levels,
He's
be
so
able to
cute.
sell
I love
kind of
him.
level of music, right?
Yeah.
But yet you can't get someone else who's a little bit more conscious.
Wait, 1 second. My phone is ringing.
Oh, your phone is
My
ringing?
phone. So Ron said that I think our guest is ready.
Ron said that. I heard Ron saying that with your finger there.
Because
I don't think
Karen,
Ron was calling there.
Would you mind introducing our new
my
guest?
God, what's going on here? I don't think,
You gotta have a special.
No, but on a serious note, let's
Yeah.
bring on the guest, though, because, it's time to bring on the guest.
All right,
So, we're going to welcome Tarico Satterfield from Real Life Empire. He's a
Whoop, whoop.
phenomenal, incredible individual who's doing some fabulous work throughout the country.
Yes.
And it's an awesome and a pleasure to have Mr. Satterfield on the show. He is a motivated, inspirational individual, and he also loves inspiring people and also giving his best at all times. Mr. Tarico Satterfield of Real Life Empire, what's up, man?
Welcome to our
What's
show.
going on, man? How y'all doing?
We're doing well, man. Welcome to Cultural Flip Side.
Yes.
So,
Man, thank you for having me, brother.
yeah, man. So, what comes to my mind when I think of Real Life Empire, Mr. Tarico Satterfield, what do you want the world to know about you? Especially,
listen,
That's a
man.
good question.
yeah.
Yo, we're just trying to renew the minds of young people all across the world, help them identify purpose and vision in life. And when we do that, we're going to equip them with the tools they need so they can touch the world in a positive way, man. That's what we do here at Real Life Empire. It's all about developing young people.
Awesome, man. Now, you my man, and we've known each other for years, touring together, doing all kind of work together. How did you get into music? Because I know you play the piano, you sing. I mean, you got your little John Legend going on at times, man.
Yes. Yes.
My man is the man. Okay,
Well,
and I know you Mr. Alabama in the building. I see the sweatshirt on. You looking good with the Alabama recognizing. I recognize the flow right here. I see the swag. So let the world know the swag, please.
I love that.
So listen, man, I'm Southern born, Southern bred, cornbread, collard greens kind of singing.
Oh, wait. Hold that back. Bring that back.
Yeah.
Go
Bring
DJ.
that back, man.
Go
Bring that
DJ.
back.
Go
Bring that back. Bring that back one more time. You got to say that again, man. Drop that gem again, B.
Listen, so I tell you, man, I'm Southern bred, cornbread, collard green kind of music, man, and I grew up on it. It's music in the soul, man. Like you think about slavery and people singing from their pain and their struggle. Like most of that stuff was from down south, man. And so a lot of that incubation that happened for me in music, honestly, it happened in the church. And so in the church, I say from the soul, because a lot of them butt whoopings you was getting, you go up there and sing them songs, and you ain't really screaming about them songs. You screaming about their pain from
Wow.
the butt. but also from the soul of that, the cooking and the culture and the family, Sunday dinner, man, and after church when we all getting together, my whole family sings, man, and we get together, eat and sing, and that's what it is. And it got me to go to college, man. I was privileged to go to college to sing on a 4-year scholarship from growing up in the church singing, man.
Man, I love that, man. And you know, when I think about you, you know, you are a person who's all about your community and your people. How did you get into like giving so much and giving your all, going beyond the job title, going beyond all the you know, the accolades and all that stuff? You know, you never really chase all that kind of stuff. You're all about, that's just your character, that's your DNA. How did you get to that level in your life?
Listen, man, the community raised me, man.
Oh,
like the community, I'm a village baby. I tell everybody I'm a village child. And so when you were raised by the village, it's an honor to be able to give to the village. You know, you never forget the village that helped bring you up. That's the culture. You know, we're talking about singing, but it ain't just the singing. The singing is a byproduct of the community of individuals that were around you. And when you've been incubated in such a vast community, man, how could you ever detach that? I said singing is the soul, but the community lives in your soul along with that. You know what I'm saying? So you don't ever detach yourself from that. And it's bigger than the dollars, man. Like, you know, your community need the dollars, right? So the dollars are still about the community. It ain't about the money. It's everything is tied to that soul, man. And that's why when people talk about music and soul, I don't think people understand that the soul of it all is we want to give everything to feed the soul, man. And the soul is the community.
I love that, man. I love that. I love when you talk about the soul and the community.
Right, and the understanding and how that goes into music. I'm so curious to, like, musically, how did you incorporate that very soul into your work? Like, you know, melodically speaking.
Oh, so realistically, like melodically, I went to college, and when I was in college, man, I had to pick up a like whole different form. I told you I was out of church, and when I was in college, they had me singing opera. And so I'm singing opera, but the music had a different fire to it when I would sing the
opera. Were you a baritone?
Believe it or not, I was a first tenor when I got to college.
What? Wow. Oh, because you were younger, right? So, I see what you, okay. But can you still do una furtiva lagrima? You know that, right? See?
There we go.
Crazy knows crazy.
There we go.
Carry on melodically. Melodically.
I love it.
Listen.
That's what I'm talking about.
Side is the insanity
That's
of
what I'm talking about.
Sorry, Gas, go ahead.
But just talking about, you know, how did you color that, right? Because you're going to this experience that you've never been a part of, but I got that soul, man. And that soul, once I learned what the meaning of the song was about, a girl, you giving a rose and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I understand that because I grew up on Luther.
Right.
I understand because I remember Mom's playing Purple Rain. And I'm like, yo, I got that. Give me those lyrics again. And now I'm about to sing these lyrics, and you're going to feel it a different way.
Right.
That's how you bring your soul into it. You don't have to separate yourself from your culture. You bring your culture into how they are writing, people are writing, and then you interpret from that place.
That's dope. Now that's dope.
That's amazing. And I appreciate it. It's so interesting talking to you because I feel like oftentimes, you know, when we look at those, even through opera, for example, right? Those songs were created to describe, you know, experiences of folks, you know, love experiences mostly, right? Of people in a particular, you know, era, in a particular location. And folks look at it as being like so erudite, you know, and like so out of reach. You know, neglecting love experiences across Black communities, right? So how is Una Furtiva different from, you know, what, you know, someone like, you know, Tupac sings?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You know, what's crazy is when you think about Tupac, you know, one of the greatest lyricists of all time.
Yeah,
man.
of all time. Puccini, you ain't got nothing on Tupac. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. Listen, when you think about the way he wrote his lyrics, even the story, one of the things that jump out at me, Brenda's Got a Baby. When I think about that song, man, and the lyrics to that song,
I know Brenda's got a baby, but barely. Oh,
man.
Go.
You bringing me back right now.
Do it. Do you?
You know how we do.
When you listen and you hear his lyrics, man, you know he telling a story from the hood. And when you listen to these other lyrics, they telling stories from their hood. We just call them different things, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So there's the cross-reference. We say there's no cross-reference, but there's a cross-reference in everything dealing with music. We talk about all the time in college how music is like this universal language. And the reason it is a universal language is because you just put different names to situational things. You hear some things in country and you be like, yo, there's an R&B song about that.
Yep.
That's
Two
true.
totally different genres.
It really is.
But-
And, it's also very much about primary emotions. You know,
Yeah,
love
yeah.
being the strongest of them all, right? So I feel like that's why this is a great,
Absolutely.
we're honoring, Black love during this show and really highlighting that experience. And I really appreciated that you said that.
Well, and you think about that, you talk about Black love, man. I tell people like the loving for us didn't start after slavery. It was before that,
Before that.
It was way before that. Like
Mm-hmm.
people tell our story from slavery, but when we were kings and queens, imagine what love was like then.
So Tarico, I wonder, man, because we always talk about this all the time. We talk about love in our community. Why do you think we have difficulty coming together as a people at times? What do you think divides us to continue moving forward at times?
So, I wrote a paper when I was in college on the post-traumatic slavery disorder. And like you think about what happened to us in slavery, a lot of us are still fighting. There was no healing. What was passed down was the trauma, like from slavery, and a lot of people didn't heal from that, so they still screaming in pain, right? Still screaming, in some ways, a lot of ways, that rage. But there's still the elements of even that pain and that rage that we don't attribute to being lovely. But if you think about how deep love is, man, and you think about how powerful love is, it's not just beauty. I think one of the things our minds never got transformed to love. We like love as roses and flowers and beauty, but we don't like love that is painful or it's unconditional, if you would.
Radical,
And so,
with multiple
yeah,
layers,
it's so much.
complicated.
It's richer than what people think it is. So we say our community we don't get along well, but the truth of the matter is we loving on each other. We just growing and it's evolving.
That's right. Thank you, man. Thank you for that.
Come on, man.
As I'm sitting here listening to you, Mr. Tarico Satterfield, Real Life Empire. How can people get in contact with you, man?
Man, listen, you can find me on Instagram under Tarico Satterfield. You can find me on Facebook. Look me up, Real Life Empire. Matter of fact, you can just call me, 860-215-1758. If you need me, that's the number. Hit me up. I'm here for you. Black love. Let's go, baby.
Now, Tarico, before we close out, right? I'm always about to throw this at you real quick, so I hope you catch the hook,
boy.
man. Here we go. And I'm about to put Pauline in this too at the same time. And we gonna do a song together right here on Cultural Flip Side, because this is how we do. So here we go. So the song I'm about to throw at you, my man said, you know what? I think we're gonna throw a little Luther in there, always, or throw something in there really quick. What's the song?
Wait, you said Luther with Martin Luther. Wait,
no.
who?
He said Luther Vandross.
Oh, my love.
Come on.
There's only you in my life. The only thing that's right, you.
Got you. And I want to share my whole life with you.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. You see that just went down.
Is that over here?
Uh-oh.
In your eyes.
Your eyes, your eyes.
They tell me how much you care.
Oh, I see his melody.
Oh, yeah. You will always be my endless love. Let's
That
go.
was beautiful.
That was a moment. That was a moment.
That's what I'm talking about. And for all of you right now who are watching, this is how we do it on the cultural flip side. So y'all better get ready. And Mr. Tarico Satterfield, I love you, man. You know I love you all my heart and soul, brother. There's nothing I won't do for you, man. So, mad love.
Mad
You're
love to
amazing.
you guys.
Thank you so much.
for
Oh, I
having me
love
on
you
Cultural
too.
Flip
Come back always.
Like you said,
All right,
my
guys.
guest. How you gonna love him, man? If you don't know. Yeah.
Or, you know, it's music.
It's music. It's that energy, right?
It
See?
is the energy.
See? I told
Okay,
you.
I
I
guess
told
you
you.
learned a thing or
See?
two at the
I
cultural
got her
flip
back
side.
with that one. You know?
Oh my
You know what I'm
God.
saying?
It's so dramatic.
You know?
Anyway,
I don't know if she ready for the killer book, man.
I'm afraid
I
I'm
don't
not
know if she
ready.
can have it.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here.
All right, man.
No, I love you though,
God
yo.
I appreciate you. So that
Wow,
was
that was amazing. That was
amazing.
amazing.
What a great show.
Yeah.
Like, isn't Black love and Black emotion the most amazing thing?
You know what? I feel like giving you a hug. Come here, give me a hug. Oh
This
my
is so
gosh,
crazy.
gosh.
We don't hug
Jeez.
people. We're going
Oh
through
my gosh.
pandemic.
You know? But it's real. That's the love, the
It is
energy.
real, Kevin. No, it was a great. So, what are your takeaways? Like major takeaways today?
You know what? When I think about the takeaways on this one, and he said somebody that really resonated with me, an artist, because we talking about music, right? We talking
Right.
about energy, we talking about music. An artist that really impacted my life a lot, and I wouldn't be here today.
Tupac.
Was Tupac? How'd you know?
Because you talk about it all the time.
All the time. And I'm telling you, and you know what? A lot of people don't even know the poetry he wrote. And he wrote a poem called, it was a book where one of his teachers saved all his poetries. All of his poems were saved. But one of the poems that resonate with me the most is like, I think about, you know, when he talks about the rose that grew from concrete. And it goes like this, right? It says, did you ever hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's laws wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else even cared. When I think about the show today, I think about all the different music, all the artists that struggled. I think about, you know, all the different things that occur even throughout Black history, but we continue to persevere. Yep. We continue to blossom. We continue to be that beautiful rose without having all the things the resources that we need in order to continue moving forward. But we create this beautiful art. And that's what we're talking about today, is this art. Yep. You know, so I also think about like, when
Art, love, expression of feelings,
emotions,
yeah,
all that.
Amazing.
So you know you gotta give me some dap on this today. Boom. So what did you take away?
Cut that.
Anyway, come on.
I thought he was supposed to ask what my takeaways were, but he ain't asked, so I'm just gonna share it with y'all. So my takeaway.
Oh my God.
That was your takeaway. Let me do
Oh
my takeaway.
You see how she treat me? You know. What is this?
Anyway, so my takeaway is.
Oh,
Right?
who was that? Wait.
Wait.
Who was that?
That was Ron.
I think Ron trying to get in on the show now.
Let me call
You know,
Ron real quick. Hey, Ron.
How you calling Ron? The
He-
phone is right. I mean, on your ring. I mean,
Yeah,
come
don't
on.
touch my ring.
All right.
There's
here
a
we go.
pandemic.
All right.
So I think that my takeaways are, you know, historically, I think that we'll look at, you know, Black love and Black emotions and Black existences in a particular way, and how it you know, how we had to adapt as a people. You know, to sort of exist and be allowed to exist, right? Through mainstream culture, you know, through, you know, white supremacy and all that. So I think there's some nice parallels there when you look, you know, at Paris's, you know, story, and also at our second guest story, right?
Right.
There's this element of like being able to exist which also goes along with your poem, right?
Yeah.
Be able to exist through so much oppression and
Oppression,
through so
struggle.
much, supremacy and struggle. So I think that resistance really emerges from that.
Absolutely.
All those multiple narratives of, Black love and Black existences. So I really appreciate that. And to me, that's the biggest takeaway, like the way that we are able to adapt, to exist, not only to exist, to also thrive. Because
Absolutely.
we have been thriving.
That's right.
As a people, here's another high
I know.
five. This is it. This is
I
my
know.
last one for today. Anyway.
But you know what?
What?
On another note, I like what Paris Pruitt said. She said every day she rises in prayer. So you know what? I think just for closing, let's just close out with a universal prayer. Because you know what? People are struggling, and mental health is real,
Yeah.
and the struggle is real on so many levels that people deal with. So really quick,
That was an interesting turn, but let's
Yeah.
go. Let's do it.
God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for waking us up, blessing us with another day, and help us to continue staying positive through these trials and tribulations. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for watching. Did you hear Ron?
I heard him again.
I put my phone on.
I think we need to have
Am
Ron
I
as a
hearing?
guest on the
Am
show
I hearing
next.
voices? Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being here at the Cultural Flip Side today. We love having you.
And we love you all. We appreciate you. Stay positive, stay encouraged, and also just keep logging on, because without you, it wouldn't be us.
Absolutely. Stay pretty as well. I know you are. Anyway, thank you so much.
Have a great day, everyone. Peace.
Bye. Thank you.